In this session, we're going to talk about how to game if you are a beginner and how to make a lifestyle choice. Now, first you have to understand if you really want to change your dating life, change is a must and it's not should. So don't think like, okay, I should change one day. You know, the energy you want to have while you want to change is the emotional energy is I must fucking change. Now, when I started game, I was back in the day, you know, I was 17 years old, a young kid, just going to different places, you know, getting rejected from clubs. And if my change was a should, like, hey, I should change, then I wouldn't have changed because I was getting rejected from the clubs, I was rejected by the girls, I was getting cock-blocked by different men, you know, like in Singapore, you have a lot of Australians, you have a lot of, you know, white people as well as, you know, people from all around the world. So it's not only like white men, but everyone used to cock-block me. I was a 17-year-old kid. Now, if that change was a should, I won't have changed in my life. Once you're gonna change, you're gonna feel a lot of fear, right? Because you're doing something that is out of your comfort zone. Now, once you're doing something that is out of your comfort zone, there's a lot of fear, but it's not fear of the unknown, as some people might think, you know, like people fear the unknown. You can't fucking fear the unknown because you don't know what's the unknown, right? But you fear, the fear that you're gonna face is of letting go of the known. Now, I'll tell you what I mean by this. I mean the negative beliefs that hold you back. For example, I have this client I'm doing a personalized boot camp with, like really nice looking chap, you know, like he's done good in his life, he's an entrepreneur. But the first day when he came to the boot camp, he's like, man, I won't be able to approach. I don't think you can teach me this shit, right? And obviously it's a personalized boot camp, so, you know, we take it slow, we take it step by step, and it's a more detailed program. So we go to the club, I make him approach some guys in the first day, you know, just getting him out of his shell, because for 20 years, you know, he was not really approaching, he was not really going out, he was just living his lifestyle, you know, behind a laptop. So he had believed that he can't even approach, right? So the first day he approaches some guys, and in boot camps we make you do this. So whatever your belief might be, we'll do that same thing in front of you to shatter your beliefs and to show you what's possible, right? So the first day he had a belief he can't even approach a goal. First day he approached like 10 guys and he was, you know, shattered with this belief. He just did not want to approach, right? Because whatever belief you hold, you want to hold it really close to you. And the fear is not of the unknown, the fear is not of approaching, but the fear is of letting that belief go. For me, when I came to India, my belief was Indian girls do not like that sex that much, and the reason is because they're conservative, right? And I didn't want to let go of this belief, and for this reason, I didn't even pull the first few girls I could have pulled. Now with this guy, second day he comes, he's like, hey man, you know, it was a good night, but I could not approach a girl. Same belief, right? Second day, he approaches like 10 girls indirect. And he has a good closing ratio as well. Now third day he comes, I'm telling him, hey, just try one approach, right? Direct. He tries 5 approaches, he closes 3 girls, which is actually a really good rate for a guy who's just beginning out. I remember when I was beginning out, I used to go out in the field, maybe mass approach 30 to 40 girls, and I didn't do text game much at that time because I didn't have the money to take them out on dates, so I was more focused towards the pull. And I remember getting rejected left to right, man. So if in the second or third day you can get like a 70% or 60% closing ratio, that's pretty fucking good. Now it's all about letting your old beliefs go, whatever beliefs you have, whether it is, you know, Indian girls are too conservative, Indian girls are too bitchy. Like a lot of people used to tell me this, hey man, this is not possible in India. I'm like, why? Indian girls are too bitchy. Like, what do you mean by they're too bitchy? They might be bitchy with you because your approach is wrong, right? But they're not bitchy in general, they're so sweet. Like, I've had a different experience now. So that's one thing, and do not let fear overpower you when you are out in the field. Now, when you're out in the field, you're new, you're kind of scared, right? You're kind of nervous, you're kind of feeling shitty inside, you don't want to do the approaches because you're not really enjoying the process. Now, what I mean is, do not let your fear overpower you. Instead, you want to master your emotions, and that's how we do game. In boot camps, I'll give you a small story and I'll tell you how to do it for your own self. So the last boot camp I had, which was in Bangalore, right? Some of you guys were there. Now on the end, right, because I had already done 2 boot camps before that, on the last day, I could not even fucking stand, right? I was too tired. I was just too tired. I just was shivering because I didn't even eat anything. There's too much adrenaline rush. We didn't even get the time, and yeah, I was too tired. So I'd been gaming for 16 days before that, and I knew that as soon as the Bangalore bootcamp finishes, I have to come back to Delhi and do another 12 days program with the personalized bootcamp I told you about. Now, how can you do that if you're too tired? The first thing is, never communicate yourself. Always make sure that whenever you're communicating to yourself, never communicate in a negative self-talk. For example, I was too tired, but if I would have said it over and over again, hey man, I'm too tired, I don't want to go out, what the fuck, I don't want to do a boot camp, my performance would fall down, right? Now, I am really tired, but that's not how I communicate myself, because communicating it to myself will reaffirm the belief that I'm really tired. So, what do I do instead? I'm like, hey, I'm out here, this is what I chose for myself, and I'm really happy that I'm tired, that I can get fucking tired doing this shit, because not many people can say that, right? And I'm happy I'm in Bangalore, I'm here, I'm not gonna spend one day inside. So I go out, even after the boot camp, I go out 3 nights consecutively. So, which was not exactly a boot camp, it was a rest time for me, but I'm training my mind for the international tours that I'm gonna have, right? Because you can't be tired, that's not an excuse. Now, how do I communicate it to myself? I'm like, no, I'm here, in a positive manner, right? Now, you guys know about the ball of energy concept when you're talking to a girl. There's a ball of energy when you're talking to yourself, right? Now, with that ball of energy, take it to not a fun direction, but a more inspiring, a more motivational direction, all right? The first thing is communicating to yourself. That's how you can change a lot of things. Like, even if you get rejected out in the field and you're like, oh, this is not my shit, I can't do this, then definitely you'll have negative thought patterns, and those negative thoughts are gonna stop you from doing that. So if you are out in the field, you're getting rejected, say to yourself, who has the balls to do that? How many people are approaching in India in the right manner, right? I don't think less than 50, I guess. So just communicate it to yourself in a positive manner, all right? Do not be negative about it. Now, if you are a person who has a really negative thought pattern, there's another thing that you can do to change it. For example, when we're doing seminars, like big seminars, so the third seminar I did, there were 100 people, all right? Now, with the 100 people seminar, I'm 21 years of age, and I'm really nervous. I'm really in my head at that time. Now, they make us do an activity where they give us a marker, a big pen marker, and you have to hold it in your teeth like this. Now, what happens with this is you're smiling, right? And once you're smiling, the negative thoughts would not be there. So that is what happens when you hold a marker in your teeth, and that's what they make us do for 5 minutes before the seminars. Now, what is it exactly? It's changing your physiology, right? The way your body language, your physiology, your thought pattern. Now, one thing you have to understand is when you are in the field and you're feeling very nervous, you're feeling, okay, if there's too much fear, what you can do is you can change your physiology to have a more sense of more confidence, right? Now, it's a small gimmick that you can use when you're out in the field. Now, what I mean by this is, when you're scared, when you're nervous, your physiology will go like this. It will become crouched, your shoulders would raise up, your head would kind of sink in, right? And this would be kind of sad, depressed, anxious physiology. Now, try to remember one time when you felt you achieved something, the greatest achievement of your life, whether it's, passing your 12th grade, whether it's, getting acquiring a new business, or whether it is, sealing a new deal, whatever it is, the greatest achievement, maybe you climb Mount Everest, I don't know, right? So the greatest achievement you've had in your life, I want you to close your eyes, I want you to imagine it for a moment. I want you to really breathe how you were breathing at that time, the same breathing pattern, right? The same physiology, the same body language. Now, definitely, if you had an achievement, your body is going to be, your shoulders are going to go to back, your back is going to be curved, chest is going to be a bit out, right? And you're going to have a smirk on your face. That's what I'm assuming. I'm assuming no one was pretty sad when they got an achievement. So I really want you to, when you're out in the field and you're really feeling nervous, really scared, right, of approaching, just get in that zone, right? And how you were breathing at that time, how you were, smiling at that time, how you were feeling at that time. And what it would do is it would change your emotional pattern. So for example, if you're really scared and you change your physiology, obviously it's going to take some time, but it's going to change your emotions. It's actually one of the quickest way to control your state. So make sure you do that. For example, be more aware of what body language do you have. Do you have a slouched body language? Are you nervous? Are you jittery? Or are you smiling? Right? Be more aware of what your own body language is. Now, body language, there is no unattractive body language. There is no unattractive body language. However, a girl can see that and she can sense, okay, this guy is fucking scared, he's fucking nervous, but he's trying to be so cocky, right? It's not congruent, so that's why she would reject you. Now, another thing is thoughts, right? A lot of times we are in the field, we're trying to approach back to back and we're inside our head, we're thinking, right? Do not focus on your thoughts, okay? The one thing you want to focus on is breathing. Focus on your breathing rather than focusing on your thoughts. Now, I'm not trying to tell you to go in the field and just become a Baba and do some meditation. That's not what I'm trying to tell you. What I'm trying to tell you is, if you're really in your head, focus on the thought, focus on the breathing, and then you focus on the next step. What is the next step? The next step. You're out in the field. You're probably, just walking here and there, because I've been hearing it from many people that they've been doing game for 1 hour, maybe approaching like 5, 2, 3, 4 sets, and that's not how you do game. I mean, that's one way to go about it if you want to learn it in 2 years. But if you really want to learn it fast, do not waste any time when you're out in the field. Always remember, focus on your breathing and just focus. What is the next step? You would know the next step. The fear will tell you not to do it, but you would be well aware of what is the next step. Now, another thing is, if I'm really in my head, sometimes in the boot camp, I'll start approaching men, right? That's a crutch. Start approaching men. Now, if you can't even approach a man, I mean, not with a sexual intent. First of all, I want to clear that. If you're approaching the man the same way you're approaching a girl, most of the men would shut you off, because most of the men are not really, they don't swing the other way. So, and even if they do, I don't think you want to get involved in that. So one thing you have to understand is, approach men, and that's how I made some of the best connections in Delhi, Bangalore, Bombay, wherever, man, like all over the world. Approach men, and most of these people might just be the event managers, might just be the DJs. You can just go up to the DJ and tell him, hey man, this is a lovely song, you play some good music, man. Or maybe you can just approach the guards out there, right, in malls, or maybe in daytime you can just talk to some vendors, anyone, right? But also understand, that is not what you're out there to do. That is helping you make a social circle, that is helping you build some social connections. But after 1 hour of approaching men, or maybe once you've approached 5 to 6 men, it's time to approach women. You're not there to approach men, right? So don't take it in a wrong way. What you need to do is make it easy for you. Now, another thing is, what is the next step after approaching men? Maybe you approach 5 men. Now you're like, okay, I've approached 5 men. Maybe this is it, right? That's not it. The next step is to approach a woman. So make sure you do that. And with men, I would also suggest approach some mixed sets. If you're just approaching men, you can easily approach a mixed set, right? Just give him a compliment. Hey man, lovely shoes, matches with the shirt, right? I just wanted to buy this shirt, just wanted to ask you where did you get it from. Is that too much? You're not trying to spark some attraction, you're not throwing in any intent. What you're trying to do is you're trying to build a mental muscle of approaching. Now, when you're out of the field, there's certain things that you can do which will help you master your emotions. Now, these certain things, for example, meditation, right? Now, I'm not trying to tell you that become a Baba, do meditation for 2 hours, 3 hours, right? That's not why we're here. What I'm trying to tell you is, do a meditation, not only the meditation that most of the people do, which is just focusing on the breathing. That's not the meditation I want you to do. That's the most basic meditation. I want you to do a meditation with affirmations, or a meditation which involves breathing pattern, right? Because that is going to help you control your emotions, master your emotions. Now, in India, we have a lot of foundations, like the Isha Foundation, the Art of Living, Vipassana, right? We have a lot of these meditation centers which can teach you different types of meditation. Now, these 3, I'm not endorsing any one, because you need to find what's suitable for you. Now, I personally did Art of Living meditation. After that, I did sensory deprivation tank. That's another level up. But if you are a student, I mean, it's kind of expensive in India. But if you are a guy, who's a student, I think you should try one of these 3: Art of Living, Isha Foundation, and Vipassana. Right? One of these 3 would do good enough. Now, with meditation, what will happen is, what they do, what I figured out they do is, they'll tell you to breathe in different patterns. Like when you're in different emotions, you'll breathe in different patterns, and that's what they'll tell you to do. Now what happens is, you face you get a lot of emotions when you're doing the meditation. Some people cry, some people are really happy, right? So you need to figure out what's really suitable for you. And how do you figure that out? The meditation which takes you less time, the meditation which is more convenient for you. Now I'm not going to tell you which one to follow. That's completely your call. I want you to test everything, right? And then figure out, okay, what works for you. Now all of the gurus are going to tell you that their thing is the thing that you should follow, right? But what I'm trying to tell you is life is short. Follow everything, which one suits you. Take that and inculcate in your life. This is how you master your emotions. This is how you go all the way in mastering your emotions. Another thing I want you to understand is when you're out in the field, never be in autopilot mode. Now what I mean by autopilot mode is like a zombie, not doing anything, not focusing on your own body language, just feeling shitty. I'm going to do these approaches. I want you to enjoy the process, right? Because if you're on an autopilot where whatever thoughts is coming in your head, you're just focusing on them, right? That is autopilot. Now if you're in autopilot mode, there would be negative thoughts, right? And if you're focusing on those negative thoughts, it would give you irrational fear. Now irrational fear, for example, like with the personalized bootcamp client I told you about, he had an irrational fear he can't approach a woman. Third day he was closing girls with a 70 to 60% ratio. Now that's an irrational fear. With that irrational fear, it will not help you when taking action. So make sure you don't let that irrational fear arise in your head. Now also with that irrational fear, what will happen is once you're doing the approach, rather than just going in like this, like hey, you'd be a bit hesitant, right? And if you're a bit hesitant, the girl can sense it. It's half-hearted. The girl senses that you're not enjoying the process, you're not enjoying the conversation. Rather than that, you're just doing it because you have to do it, right? And if you're doing that because you have to do that, the girl will reject your approach. She's not rejecting you, she's rejecting your approach because it's too bad. So one thing you have to understand is if you're going to do an approach either ways, it's better to be full-hearted and completely go in rather than being hesitant. So never be hesitant doing an approach. Now again, if you're hesitant, it will be a downward negative spiral. The reason for that is, if you're hesitant while doing the approach, you get rejected, right? And if you get rejected doing the approach, you'll get in your head, you'll think, oh, maybe this is not cut out for me. Maybe I'm not the guy who can do this skill. But one thing you have to understand, as a guy, when I was learning the skill, I looked like complete shit, according to Singapore standards. And I was a big nerd, and if I could do it, you can do it too. Alright guys, so what you just saw was a preview of the Mentorship 2.0. Now if you'd like to sign up for the program, you can click in the link in the description section and you can sign up for the program, or you can even schedule a call directly with me to know more about our services. So if you like our content, just click on the like button and the subscribe button right next to it. This is Tarunav. Until next time.